Welcome to the back of the shot, where I break down my favorite shots and take you through everything that went into making them. If you're here today, it's probably because you saw my train video and you thought it was cool. So first off, let me thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy, I won't take much of your time. I'll walk you through the shot from A to Z, starting with the location. I'm gonna give you a bit of context, talk about the gear I've used, and then we'll dive into the color grading part. Feel free to skip to that part if you don't want to hear me yap, but if you're curious about the full process, let's get into it. So I was wandering by myself in the streets of Tokyo when I saw this place. It's like a shopping mall with 4 levels above ground, and it's filled with international and local stores and restaurants and cafes. And on the top of the mall, there's a huge park. It measures like over 300 meters in length, and there's a skate park, a bouldering wall, it's like green areas. It's very nice. It's like a little escape from the urban life, right? When leaving the park, I took this escalator down, and there was this beautiful view on the train that would arrive in Shibuya station. So I must have stayed at least like 45 minutes at that spot because I was trying to get the right timing, and every time I would either be like a second too early or a second too late, or there would be a bunch of people in the escalator. But eventually I got this shot. I didn't use a gimbal, but it wasn't that bad because I was using Sony's 70 to 200mm lens, and it has optical steady shot, which means it stabilizes the image within the lens. So as for the camera, I'm using Sony FX3. It's a really good camera, but it's also very expensive. You don't need a camera that expensive to take great videos. I'm pretty sure you could go around with something that's like half the price or a third of the price. The Sony a6700 is really good, or the Sony FX30. Lenses are cheaper, the camera itself is cheaper, it's great. And that's about it for the equipment. Now let's get into the color grading part. Alright guys, before we dive into the color grading part, I just want to put out a quick disclaimer. I'm not a professional colorist by any means. I've actually been using DaVinci for just about a month now. So don't take everything I do as the right way. This is just what made sense to me. I'm still learning yet. I don't have all the technical vocabulary yet, but I'll do my best to make this video interesting for both beginners and those who already have experience with color grading. Alright, so now we're in the color tab in DaVinci. The first thing I do is I put my color space transforms in my Note 3, okay? So at first we have the raw video, which looks really flat and desaturated. It's normal because it's in S-Log. And then I open it in a color space that's even wider. The DaVinci Wide Gamut and the DaVinci Intermediate for the Gamma, and then I close it. So this is what the video would have looked like if it had been shot using just standard Rec 709 settings. So the first thing I do is I work with my primaries, okay? So as you can see, the image is really like well lit. It's super bright. The shadows aren't very dark. So I take the shadows down, I took the offset down, so that's the whole image. I just like dim it, okay? Now, once I'm satisfied with the shadows, I'm gonna like brighten up the gamma and the mids and the highlights. So I bring them up to create some more contrast. And then I did like a little yellow shift in the gain or something like that. For the second node, I just adjusted the saturation and temperature. Next, it's a very minimal but important step, I'd say. It's just the adjustment of the color of the doors, because I added a yellow tint to it so it would match the temperature of the sunset. Because I'm trying to have this so it's like the sun is setting down. It's really like warm and like comfortable image to look at. So I'm putting a bit more warmness into the green, especially because the train is like all gray. So if I want something to pop out of it, it would be the colors of the doors. All right, so now listen up carefully, because this is like the ultimate effect if you want to create that cinematic, dreamy look, okay? So it is the glow effect. And as you can see, it sort of darkens out the shadows and brighten up the highlights, but it does it in a way that still like make a super soft image. I'm not sure how it works. Feel free to copy what I've done. I've used like the soft light setting here, and I just like eyeball it. The image has like more contrast to it because there's more like depth between the highlights and the shadows, but it's still like super soft and comfortable to look at. It's super soft. Yeah, that's my way of describing it, but I might sound retarded because I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's how I would explain it. So yeah, feel free to look at that, take a screenshot and use it later. So I've put the glow effect within the color space transform, so it's in the DaVinci Wide Gamut color space. That's the halation. So it might look like a lot, but don't worry, because it's gonna make sense with the rest of the effects. So that's just the halation. All right, so now the film look. So within this node, we have this film look node and the density node. This adds like color density, and this does too, but in a different way, because within that, we have like, oh, this is just typical Kodak film, and this is a color space transform, goes into the array log. And I leave the output at 30%, so it's very like light. All right, and now for the light rays. When I go into that node, I have a first one, and it's just to put like a sort of bloom on the brighten up areas, as if the sun was like hitting hard and the light would bloom. And then there's a second one. It's just like to mimic the rays of light that goes down there. It is the roof of the train and brighten up this area, okay? So I just added them with like a sort of angle. That's my settings, feel free. I just eyeball anything. I don't have any secret recipe, I've just done that like that. All right, so now for the flare. It's like a big flare that I've scaled up 10 times. It's super big. And I've put it in the right corner of the image over here, and it goes down like that. And I've used the magic mask to mask out that metal beam there. And I have about 666 strokes. Okay, so it took me a long time because it was really difficult. And that's why, another good reason why you should stabilize your footage before color grading it. Maybe it's easier for the mask to be good and not having to do it like manually. But anyway, now the lens flares is behind the middle beam. And then I finished off with a vignette so that the eyes of the people would be centered toward the middle. And you can see we go down, the middle beam goes up, and we see the train arriving at the Shibuya train station. Alright guys, so this is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like that format, let me know in the comments, because I'll be making more back of the shot breakdown videos. Always a pleasure for me to share what I do and to inspire others. That being said, see you next time.